Good evening, guys. It's the 15th December and it's 9:30. I've just been out with Brian Phillips on the outreach, walking around trying to help the homeless as much as we can. The temperatures are absolutely Baltic. I've got my gloves on, I've got 2 ski suits on and my house shoes underneath, so it wasn't too bad, but I could still feel the ice in the air. While walking around, we're asking the homeless if has any of the council been out to offer you anywhere to stay. Must have asked about 4 or 5. I'd say 4 of them, 4 out of the 5 said no. One said yeah, he'd been offered somewhere, he'd been kicked out. Another one said he has a place due to his mental health, schizophrenia, things like that. He couldn't manage it and he was kicked back onto the streets. I've heard a lot of stories tonight that have been absolutely mind-blowing and heartbreaking. It's just hard to believe we're living like this in 2022. I've got people I know who are in the homes. They've got a home, they can't afford to heat it, they're living in conditions of -7 in a home, walls and everything around them. They can't live. There's no quality of life. That was the things I've heard today, and yeah, in the past week or so it's just been horrendous. As we know, Brian's been sharing these pictures recently, which is helping people to see the reality of the enormity of what is going on at the minute. And I'd love to go live, and I'd love to go around and let you see and hear the stories we're hearing, but it's not. You can't. It's not doable. You've got to think about their privacy, and yeah, do you know what I mean? Respect for the people who are sitting there, because they're not. Do you know what I mean? They're not wanting to be sitting there like that. And you know, but just another thing I want to mention as well. Not everyone who's homeless is on drugs. It's drinking, things like that. There's people who are in hotels at the minute because they've lost their homes due to the pandemic and they can't afford to feed the kids, or they put in hotels and they're not giving food. The hotel's paid for, but they're not getting fed while they're there, so they've got somewhere to stay, but they can't feed the family. And I've got people who would tell me this, who are witnessing it with their own eyes. I've witnessed a lot of things tonight. The amount of people we've seen tonight, I've lost count, up and down Matthew Street, right along by just everywhere, outside St John's. They're just sitting there, and one fella was like, he got offered a drink and he was like, I'm fine, and you could just see the look on his face. He just felt like, I'd just give up. He just feels like, I don't know, the vibe you get. You're trying to get them all and bring them home. You can't though, because you can't take people home you don't know. You put yourself at risk. So what can you do? Your hands are tied. All you can do is get out there and do what you can and try and raise awareness of the situation, because you know, people come together. If people come together, the people who were feeling this on the floor, like on the ground floor of it, like, we've got no safety net going on, we're feeling the brunt of it. Like, I'm living in my home and I haven't used my gas this year because I'm not even going there. I've got heaters, electric heaters. I've got enough gas so I can get a shower and wash my dishes. That's the reality of the situation we're living in. And I don't like putting it all out there and all this and that. I don't want people like, oh, everyone's suffering at the minute, but I want everyone to know that you're not the only one. We're all going through it together. And, do you know, if we come together and create some kinds of whirlwinds of humanity and remembering our human nature, to keep remembering to care about each other, things will change. But while we're all like living in this world of it, it's not happening to me. It's only happened to that doesn't. I can't put it into words, man. I can't put it into words. It's like, I just don't know. It's just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. I've been out with Brian a couple of times over the years and went out the other week with him. But then seeing these pictures lately that he's sharing, and they're sitting in these -7, 4 degrees temperatures, and they're sitting there and they're left sitting there, and no one's offering any help. Like, they're not. If it wasn't for Brian and a couple of other teams like himself, I don't know what these people would be doing. Because they're sitting there shivering. And you're going past with the trolleys and they're shouting over. You've got any jumpers there, you've got a scarf, you've got a hat, you've got a sleeping bag, and me over. The team haven't always got what they're asking for. So Brian had to take his trolley back to the hotel then, to Shankly, where he's getting his stuff from. Take the trolley back, go and get a sleeping bag and take it round to the fella, and the fella wasn't even sitting there. The fella had gone wherever he'd gone. So lucky enough, the bouncer said, we'll pass him this in a minute. And the bouncer took the sleeping bag, and when the fella comes back to his place where he's going to be staying for the night, out in the street on the freaking cold hard floor, he'll have a sleeping bag tonight. The team was saying, last week they come out and there was a 12-year-old kid walking around who'd fell out with a family. Whatever she'd done, she was on the streets. She was on the streets. There was no one there looking out for her. They could have just passed her a cup of tea and walked on. 12-year-old kid. Anyone could have picked that kid up. There's no one walking around checking on these things. In these the weather conditions, yeah. But in these times that we're living in at the minute, we're going back to old school times where we just can't do what we need to be doing anymore. People are getting put on the streets and it's just, until you see it with your own eyes, it's hard to believe. It is. That's why we're doing the protest on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Because we need more shelters to be opened up. Like Brian's saying, yeah, there's places opened. But some people can't go to certain places because the people there they don't get on with or whatever else. There should be options, different things. Yeah, there's things in place. I'm not saying there's nothing in place, because there is. But there's not enough for what I've just seen out there then. 10, 11, 12, 13, probably more. We literally walked around the block and back in again, and we've seen there's so many people sitting around with blankets around them, people out with dogs, homeless people with dogs hopping around, can't walk properly and stuff like that. They can't get the help they need. It's desperate situations that are going on here, and yeah, I don't know whether these celebrities who got money are unaware or they're just doing nothing. And the council, I rang the council the other day and I said to them, I had a ringing up about concerns about people sleeping on the streets in town, Liverpool city centre. They're sleeping out in these temperatures. Is anyone helping them, or are you aware, knowing that they are aware, because how can they not be? But and the woman said, yeah, we're aware of the situation. She said, the thing is, we can't make people take the help that we're offering if they don't want to take it. And I said, well, fair enough. I couldn't argue with her, because I didn't want to say, well, I know this and I know that, because I didn't know nothing then. I've been out tonight and seen with my own eyes. I've asked homeless tonight, has any council people been out through the night to offer you anywhere to stay? And they've all said no. They've all said no. And they're sitting there shivering. It's mind blowing. I'm one of the people, I won't take things by, I won't get told something and believe it there and then. I've got to see it with my own eyes. This is why I've been coming out with Brian and trying to witness it, because I've done that in the past where you jump on bandwagons and you find out you're wrong. I've done that a lot of times and I've learned. So even tonight, even after Brian telling me, and I trust Brian, I've seen what he's done for years, I've seen it, and I still need that confirmation with my own eyes and my own ears, so I've come out with him tonight. Not just to ask the homeless, I wanted to come out anyway, but while I was out and about, and Brian, I was talking to him about what I was saying and thinking, I needed confirmation, and while I was out with him, he was asking people, which then gave me confidence to ask people as well. And he was saying, has anyone been out tonight to offer you any help, or last night? And they're saying no. They were out last night in -7 temperatures, and like they've just been left sitting there right through the night with people drunk, high on drugs, walking past them, very vulnerable. And it's not just, it's madness, honest to God. Young women sitting there. Oh, it's just madness. Something needs to change, and fast. So I thought I'd do a little quick blog on that now, because yeah, by the time I get to bed, and I'll probably forget half of it, because it's just that much has gone on within the past half an hour, 40 minutes. And Brian's gone into his flat there, and he's like, yeah, see you later, Lisa, I'll be back out there later. Brian's doing this off his own back. He'll be back out there later tonight again, in the cold weather, walking around. So if you see me taking pictures, or you see me posting pictures, share them. Let's get some more awareness on this, because something's got to change, and by the looks of it, the authorities are not doing what they need to do, so the people need to come up now and show the authorities how you do it, how you show your heart and soul into something that you feel is wrong. Something's missing somewhere along the line with the authorities. They're just so disconnected from it all. They're disconnected from it all. It's like they're watching a film, it's not real. But when you come out on the street and you see these people sitting like that, on cold, damp floors, in conditions that, yeah, I don't know. It's literally had my head in turmoil this past week. It has. It's gone on. I know it's gone on for years. I'm not saying I'm just being brought aware of it. I know it's gone on for years, but it's not getting any better. We're in 2022. We're in 2022. Why can't we help other countries and help these as well? Who were living on our doorsteps. Let's help them all, isn't it? People say, like, you have to help all the countries and leaving our own. We're all our own. We're all our own. We're all linked. We're all a brother and sister. We're all linked. We're all one. We're all, like, everyone's your own. Everyone means something to someone. And these people who are on the streets, they've probably been in families where they've caused that much heartache. The families can't cope. So they're being pushed onto the streets. It's madness. Yeah, just share the posts and things like that. If you can't give your time or your money, just share the post, because like I said, someone else might see it who can. And this is what we need. Anyone who can help, just jump on board, because we need the help. The team was short tonight. There was not as many out tonight. So the more people who can come out with this team, the bigger the team gets. Let's start getting a big tribe going round overnight and make it known that, like, people are coming together here. Like, you know, where they ban protests and things like that. You're walking around with the homeless. You're helping the homeless. It's the same thing. You're making a stand. You're making a stand. People who are out, people coming over tonight, just seeing us walking past, coming over, going, yeah, there's a £5, passing it to Brian. Yeah, there's this, there's a voucher, there's this, there's that. Another fellow went past and he said, you know what, Brian? He said, thank you so much, because, you know, thanks to you, people like you, years ago when I was homeless, you've changed my life. Just showing that olive branch, a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever it is. It's just, they're not sat there the whole night on their own with people just walking past. Someone's stopping and saying, need okay? Do you need a blanket? Do you need this? Do you need that? Because we can't offer a room, we can't offer a hotel, we haven't got the facilities to do it, but the council have. The council have got the facilities to offer them more. But Brian's offering what he can at the minute, and the team. Offering what they can. And he's out there every night, innit? So yeah, so I have to mention that now, and I'll be there on Saturday, 1 o'clock, at the demo, coming together to let everyone know, like, they're not alone in this. See you later.